Today I would like to talk about the full spectrum of femininity and the conditioned ideas that we have around femininity. Now, I work with many women doing one-on-one sessions and also workshops on feminine embodiment. And what I have found, especially in the one-on-one sessions that I offer, is that women come in with a particular notion and idea and construct of what femininity is and what that looks like, how it expresses itself. And there appears to be a lot of suffering around this conditioned idea of what femininity is, and the expectations and the more unconscious beliefs that women are holding towards expressing this idea of femininity. Now, each woman that I talk to, they have a different idea of what feminine is, but there is a general motif that is going throughout, which is this soft, vulnerable, loving, nurturing, sensual, sexy expression of a woman. And there is this need somehow to try and fulfill those qualities of femininity. Now, this has been particularly found, I have found this most predominant with women who are on the tantric path, and women who are being programmed with certain ideas of Shakti, of what Shakti looks like and how she manifests, and that might be with her little bindi and her flowing skirt and her big earrings and necklaces and adorning herself like the goddess. Now, for me personally, I really enjoy dressing myself in a way that I feel good and feminine, but this is working for me. But what I have found is that some women aren't being authentic when they're trying to fit themselves in this particular model of feminine. And I'm talking very much about the exterior look right now when I've mentioned these qualities. But I see women trying to be sensual and trying to be sexy and trying to look like a goddess in the tantric sort of community. And I see a lot of attempts to disregard their authentic expression, to disown their authentic essence as a woman and what that entails for them to try and fit in a particular box of femininity. Now, I'm not putting aside the good exploration in exploring a type of feminine expression and embodiment that maybe you don't feel so connected to, but I still see women going against their natural expression. So what do I mean by natural expression? A lot of us, all of us, we carry particular elemental expressions in our being, in our existence, men and women. Some of us are more earthy, some of us are more watery, like myself, some of us are more fiery, and some of us are more airy. And so the way that our masculinity or femininity might express itself is naturally through this type of element. This can be very much related to your astrological sign. So let's say Earth is Virgo, Taurus, and Capricorn. So earthy is much more connected, it's pretty self-explanatory, to the earth, to the more heavy, gross energies of the feminine. And this is, you can think of African type of women. This is a very earthy form of femininity. And I'm being still very general, but just to give you an understanding of the elements. And then we've got watery women who, and this also goes for men, but I'm speaking about femininity right now. Then we have the water signs, which is Scorpio, like myself, Cancer and Pisces, who have more of this flowy, sensual, in terms of this undulating energy of the water element through their femininity. And then we have the fire, which is Sagittarius, Aries, and Leo. And this is a lot more dynamic and expressive in its femininity. And then finally we have the air element, which is Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And this is a lot more light, a lot more, you think of the element of air, of the wind, and there's a beautiful softness that can also come with this femininity. Again, I'm being really super general on this, and it's not fixed, but just to offer you an idea of how the elements can contribute to your authentic expression of femininity, your natural, I should say, not so much authentic, but your natural preconditioning of your typology. And so what I find is that what we want to do is explore all the elements, which is the full potential on the physical manifested realm of our being. Find out, firstly, recognize what your natural element is. So for me, it would be water. And then what is beautiful to do is start to explore the different elements, to explore the earth, to explore the fire, to explore the air, but still you will find that you have your natural tendency. What I have found is, for instance, I've been working with a woman the past 3 months, and she wanted to become more connected to the element of water, which is much more of her sensual, snaky expression of her femininity. This sort of more this erotic archetype on the level of the water element. So the stripper is a classic archetype of the expression of the water element and her sensual expression. So what I found is it was really beautiful because she was very airy in her temperament, like quite rigid in her expression, and she really wanted to open up more into flow. So I was guiding her to go into this, but I still found that she had these strong ideas of how she had to be as a woman, and if she wasn't expressing that form of femininity, she wasn't feminine, she wasn't going to attract men, she wasn't going to be in flow. And it was really beneficial for her to explore this element and start to embody it. But I still found her suffering because she wasn't accepting herself, which actually was this really fucking wild, raw, feminine expression that she had, which is even going beyond the elements. As I said, I'm just putting these in categories to give you more of an idea of the various expressions that we have. But beyond that, I saw her as this rock star, raw, wild, feminine woman. And that was definitely the opposite of what she was trying to be. And I kept trying to express to her what I can see and where her power is, but there was still this fixed idea that she needed to be in a certain way. So in society and culture, and especially in media, in more mainstream media, we have the ideal expression of what a woman should look like, and a lot of us consciously or unconsciously try to model ourselves in this way, and it creates so much suffering within us because we're just not simply accepting who we are and our own natural authentic expression. So when we can start to actually see ourselves as we're never going to be like anyone else, we're going to be us, and once we can start to hone in on the natural qualities and gifts that we have as a woman, rather than at all costs trying to be different than what we are. And I know that these are standard cliche concepts of personal development, but really, like, check in how much you're trying to be different than who you are and how much that is creating suffering in your life. We have such a deep comparison complex, and we, especially as women, we compare ourselves a lot, or to make ourselves feel better, we tend to celebrate other women's faults as a protection mechanism to elevate our own self. This is standard human consciousness when we come to our insecurities, but it's always related to this: I'm not good enough, I need to be different than what I am. So stop. Just stop, because there's no point. It's a waste of energy, it's a waste of time. And of course, there's a lot more deeper issues underneath that can be holding and fueling this belief of I'm not good enough. But generally in women, I see this fixation on what femininity should look like. And what I invite you to do is start to really let go of the constructed ideas of what a woman should look like, be like, and express like, and just tap into your feeling. What are you feeling in each moment? And how can you authentically express yourself from that feeling? And from there, it removes all the constructs and boxes that you're going to put yourself in, because the more and more we can start to relate to the present moment and what is coming through us in each moment, whether that's sensuality and sexuality in your fiery or watery or airy or earthy way, or that's sadness or anger or even anxiety or um, your vulnerability or your softness or the archetype of the mother coming out in you. Be available in the present moment for what wants to manifest and come through you, removed from the identifications that we feel that we have to hold through the mind and fulfill a certain expression of a woman. And this goes in general for human beings. So letting go of our identifications altogether, which is not easy because that means basically letting go of the mind. Actually, it is easy because all we need to do is get into the body and form a relationship with our breath and just breathe in and drop in to our being. My amazing teacher, Ananta Kranti, she has been such an incredible guide for me in being able to embody the present moment and just drop into what is alive for me right now. And from that space, nothing matters anymore because I'm just relating with my present moment experience. And the more and more we can do this, the more and more we start to reorganize our system, our nervous system, our psyche, our energy, and just drop. And from there, there is no need to be anything other than what you are in that moment. And the more and more that we can try and come into that space, the less suffering will be cultivated in our life, in our relationships, in our work, in our own aloneness, in being by ourselves, and just drop into the presence of your own embodied being. This is all we have to do. And it's not difficult. It's just a matter of coming out of your mind. And I find, especially for women, embodiment, processes of dance, of releasing sound, releasing breath, all these things allow you to drop into that space free from identification, which subsequently leads you to not needing anything at all but your heart, your breath, and the moment that is here.